Hello, and welcome back to Wrongmar. In today's grammar mini lesson, we're taking a first look at verbs. Our goal for today's lesson is to be able to identify, use, and sort verbs. So, we've taken a look at nouns, and we've taken a look at adjectives as well in our grammar lesson so far. But it's no use having very interesting people, places, and things if they can't do anything. That's why we need verbs. So what do you think a verb is? How would you describe it to somebody who'd never heard of it before? Pause the video and see if you can write down what a verb is. Well, a verb is an action word. It's anything that can be done or that you can do. So things like running, jumping, eating, these are all action words. So they're all verbs. Why do we need verbs? I mean, we've got adjectives, we've got nouns. Why do we need verbs? Well, verbs are pretty important, both in real life and in stories. Without verbs, you're not able to do anything. Everything in the world would just be frozen. Think of all the actions you do every single day. I mean, right now, you're listening, you're looking, you're breathing. If you weren't allowed to do any of those verbs and they didn't exist, well, you'd have a bit of a problem on your hands. Down below are examples of different types of verbs. We've got run, jump, dance, write, laugh, think, talk, fall, and my favourite, eat. Let's try an activity to see if you know what a verb is. Down below are a number of verbs mixed in with a number of non-verbs. Can you find the verbs in the words below? Pause the video and give it a try. Well, how did you get on? There were 4 verbs hidden in there. Sing, bake, drink, and jog. Slippy is a describing word. Clock is a noun. Candle is a noun. Small is an adjective. And groovy is also an adjective, because they're both describing things. Take a look at this busy park scene. There are a lot of different actions going on in this scene. Can you pause the video, set a timer for 15 seconds, and see how many different verbs you can find in that space of time in the picture? Are you ready? Start now. Well, how did you get on? There's so many action words in this picture that your page would be full of verbs if I didn't only give you 15 seconds. Here's a few that I found. So I was able to see people walking, somebody eating, people waving, an old granny feeding the birds, some children running, people laughing, a balloon was floating, and of course people were sitting on the benches. All of those words are action words, so they are verbs. Sometimes verbs have ing at the end, but sometimes they don't. If you can put ing at the end of the word, the ing ending, it still makes sense, it's probably a verb. Try that trick with the words down below. Some of them are verbs, and some of them are not verbs. Can you sort them into the correct category using the little ing ending trick I told you? Pause the video and give it a try. Well, here's what you should have got. All of the words on the left-hand side are verbs. All the words on the right-hand side are not verbs. Let's see if that trick works. Slip, slipping, yeah, that's a thing. Sleep, sleeping, yeah. Brush, brushing, yeah. Skip, skipping. Perfect. So it does work most of the time. What about in a sentence? Are we able to find verbs in sentences? Well, let's give it a try. Down below are 3 sentences with some verbs hidden in them. Can you pause the video and see if you can find all the verbs in the sentences below? Well, did you find them all? In the first sentence, the verb is cooked, because that's what action we did. In the second sentence, there's two verbs. The class wrote, that's an action, and they packed, that's also an action. And in the final sentence, there are two verbs as well. The boy dropped, that's one action, and spilled is an action as well. Okay, final challenge. Finding verbs in a paragraph. Now, there's lots and lots of verbs in the paragraph down below. You don't have to find every single one, but see if you can find, let's say, at least 5 or 6 verbs down below. Pause the video and give it a try. Well, how did you get on? As I said, there's a lot of verbs in here. I just highlighted the main ones that I found. Pause the video and see if you found the same verbs that I did. So there we have it. Verbs are action words. They are things that we can do or that can be done. Before you go, I've got one last challenge for you. Imagine you're going on a safari in the middle of the African savannah. You're going to see some pretty amazing things. I want you to think of a few verbs that you're going to be doing, a few verbs that you will see the animals doing, and what verbs the person taking you on the trip is going to be doing. Pause the video and write down the verbs to these 3 questions. So our Walt for today's lesson was to identify, use, and sort verbs, the action words of the English language. You can try the practice activities down below now to make sure you know everything you need to know about verbs. That's all we have time for today. Until next time, take care.